a top African-American Democrat. He's calling Bill Clinton's campaign conduct bizarre. House Democratic Whip Congressman James Clyburn of South Carolina. That's his word, bizarre. And that's not all. Talking to the New York Times, the congressman said, quote, when he was going through his impeachment problems, it was the black community that bellied up to the bar. He continues, I think black folks feel strongly that it is a strange way for President Clinton to show his affection. Congressman Clyburn added that African Americans believe the Clintons are committed to doing everything they possibly can to damage Barack Obama to the point that he could never win a general election. Tough stuff. And he said even more to CNN's Jessica Yellen, who's got the raw politics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
He's one of the most influential African-American politicians in the nation, and he's worried.
We have young people, African Americans, as enthusiastic about this party as they've been in the last 40 years. And we cannot tamp down that enthusiasm, or we will not be successful in November.
Congressman James Clyburn says race has been injected into the campaign, and the primaries have taken on a venomous tone.
I've had people say to me, how could you, as a proud African American, you cannot speak out when you can see the race card is being played against African Americans?
So who's to blame? According to Clyburn, there's plenty to go around, and points to talk like this. Can he get significant support from white, low-income voters? Clyburn suggests such statements are loaded. Why, he asks, is there no mention of Clinton's difficulty winning African Americans' votes? And he questions the Clintons. Most recently, this comment from Bill Clinton just before the Pennsylvania primary.
I think that they played the race card on me, and we now know from memos from the campaign and everything that they plan to do it all along.
Well, I'm trying to figure out that last comment about they played the race card on me. All you got to do is look at the memos, the campaign memos. What campaign memos? I mean, what's that about? You know, that was very bizarre to me.
Fact check.
Reverend Al Sharpton received a call from Bill Clinton, who was doing damage control yesterday, Friday. He went on your program. It was a pretty civil exchange. How angry you are at that?
I think a lot of us were angry at the assertion that it was a fairy tale campaign.
Beginning with the former president who took on Obama's statements about the war in Iraq.
You said in 2004 you didn't know how you would have voted on the resolution. You said in 2004 there was no difference between you and George Bush on the war, and you took that speech you're now running on off your website in 2004, and there's no difference in your voting record and Hillary's ever since. Give me a break. This whole thing is the biggest fairy tale I've ever seen.
Now, Representative Jim Clyburn, the senior black congressman in South Carolina, says we have to be very, very careful about how we speak about that era. He's talking about civil rights. It's one thing to run a campaign and be respectful of everyone's motives and actions. It's another thing to denigrate those. That bothered me a great deal. He's talking in this case about Hillary, saying that President Lyndon Baines Johnson was the man who really got civil rights going, not Martin Luther King.
And I think that is true. I agree with Congressman Clyburn, who's been neutral as I have in this race. And I've said to all the candidates that they have to be careful how they desecrate civil rights era, civil rights activism and leadership, who sacrificed a lot. And to trivialize that into some partisan primary stuff, I think is belittling to all of us that need that movement then and need it now.
Assertion that he peddles false hopes, saying hope has driven great American accomplishments such as the civil rights movement.
Dr. King standing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. You know, this dream thing, it's a false hope. We can't expect equality. False hopes.
Clinton told Fox this in response.
Dr. King's dream began to be realized when President Lyndon Johnson passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, when he was able to get through Congress something that President Kennedy was hopeful to do, President before had not even tried.
Today, Senator Obama used President John F. Kennedy and
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to criticize me. And, you know, basically compared himself to two of our greatest heroes, saying, well, they gave great speeches. President Kennedy was in the Congress for 14 years. He was a war hero. He was a man of great accomplishments and readiness to be president.
Do you, in your heart of hearts, think that Hillary Clinton is playing the race card in this campaign against Barack Obama?
I know that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are good and decent people, and they have led for years on the issue of race. I have great respect for them. I think we need to be troubled by some of the statements that their surrogates have made, but I think the important thing is to move beyond and to talk about the issues that are important to the American people, to recognize that it's not been the Obama campaign in the least that's played the race card. We have quite the interest in doing the opposite. And then when the Clintons themselves have said some things that were intentionally or not widely construed as being somewhat insensitive, and then to turn and accuse the Obama campaign of playing the race card, it all really strains credulity, and I really hope
for them somehow to suggest that we're interjecting race as a consequence of a statement she made that we haven't commented on is pretty hard to figure out.
In terms of accountability, Senator Obama, Senator Clinton on Sunday told me that the Obama campaign had been pushing this storyline. And true enough, your press secretary in South Carolina, 4 pages of alleged comments made by the Clinton people about the issue of race. In hindsight, do you regret pushing this story?
Well, not only in hindsight, but going forward. I think that, as Hillary said,
I think that they played the race card on me, and we now know from memos from the campaign and everything that they plan to do it all along.